Led by the United States, an alliance began to form in response to the Iraqi threat to vital world oil reserves.
The lingering phrase from that building of the coalition was this phrase, Operation Tin Cup. You've probably seen images from film, right, where somebody's turning a grinder and there's maybe a monkey or a person holding a tin cup out to have the money go in. That was what the unofficial name was for Secretary of State James Baker going around the world convincing other states that it was the right thing to do to stop Saddam Hussein then and to help finance that operation. The Saudis, the Kuwaitis, the Germans, and the Japanese, just those four states financed, I think, about 2/3 of the first Persian Gulf War. And then other states made contributions as well. So there was an enormous commitment by the U.S. of military force and troops, but there was a genuine coalition of nearly 30 states with troops in the area and lots of money coming in from various places.
Saddam invaded Kuwait in early August of 1990, and the first Bush administration, George H.W. Bush, they took the next, 5-6 months to work with the Allies. It was considerably different than what George W. Bush did when he invaded Iraq in 2003. So it was, I think, a fairly skillful diplomacy on the U.S. part, and a different notion than what we saw later, too, a notion simply of building a multilateral coalition, getting the Saudis to fund a good part of it.
Large American air and naval forces, together with elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, were deployed to the Gulf in an operation called Desert Shield, with the intent of defending the Saudi oil fields.
Today, as president, I ask for your support in a decision I've made to stand up for what's right and condemn what's wrong, all in the cause of peace. At my direction, elements of the 82nd Airborne Division, as well as key units of the United States Air Force, are arriving today to take up defensive positions in Saudi Arabia.
First into the breach, in a powerful display of strategic mobility of air power, were 48 F-15CD Eagles of the U.S. Air Force's 1st Tactical. They were deployed from Langley Air Force Base in Virginia on August 7th, less than a day after King Fahd of Saudi Arabia requested assistance. The Eagles flew armed and were ready to fight their way into the theater of operation on the possibility that Saddam had not stopped in Kuwait. Landing in Dhahran, the Eagle drivers looked around and were relieved to see the airfield still in friendly hands. The flight was on patrol over the Kuwaiti border 17 hours after taking off from Langley. The situation in the region was bleak. 9 of Saddam Hussein's elite Republican Guard units stood at the Kuwaiti border, ready to drive south into the Saudi oil fields. It quickly became apparent that the F-15Es were the only force that could delay or harass such an advance. The price they might have to pay in the process was unthinkable. By August 11th, there were 12 F-15Es on alert at any given time. These were armed with Mk-20 Rockeye area munitions that released hundreds of golf ball-sized bomblets over an area as large as a football field, and were therefore highly effective in destroying lightly armored troop formations. 2 aircraft stood ready to defend the base or a strike package from enemy attack. They were loaded with AIM-9 Sidewinder and AIM-7 Sparrow air-to-air missiles. Luckily, during those first critical days, the feared Iraqi Republican Guard units and Iraqi Air Force never moved south. The reason for this was simple enough. Saudi Arabia was beyond Saddam's grasp simply because of the limiting logistical factors inherent to his forces. This would also prove to be a critical factor in Iraq's ability to hold on to what it had seized.